This is Hardball with Chris Mathews, September 18, 2019.
As Nicole Hockley, co-founder of Sandy Hook Promise, her 6-year-old son Dylan was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012. We also have joining us in a moment Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California. Nicole, thank you for joining us tonight. Tell us about the ad we just saw. It's horrific. It's powerful. What would you like it to accomplish?
I want this ad to really engage parents across the country in the new reality that our kids are facing every day in school. And only by engaging in this issue and focusing on prevention, strategic prevention rather than tactical reactionary measures, that's the only way that we're really going to stop gun violence in our schools and keep them safe.
Why don't you talk right now, because you've got the opportunity to talk to Congress, people who vote, Democrats and Republicans, senators and members of Congress. After they watch this PSA, this ad, what do you want specifically from them in terms of a bill the president will sign? Or what do you want the president to sign? Maybe that's another way of putting it.
Well, there are so many members of Congress and the president who are also parents. So pay attention to this ad. These are kids talking. This is what kids are experiencing, and it's within their power to do something about this at a legislative level. It's not about doing nothing. It's about doing what America wants, and America wants safety. They want their kids to be safe in school. They want safe communities. There's a lot we can do at a community level, but we need legislation at a state and federal level to help support that.
Would background checks be good for you? Would that be a start this year?
Background checks would be an amazing start. I've been working on it for 7 years, and I would love to see that cross the finish line.
Well, today, White House advisor Kellyanne Conway would not give a timetable for when the president would offer a plan on gun legislation and proceeded to grossly mischaracterize the gun legislation passed by the House earlier this year. Let's watch Kellyanne.
Senator McConnell, Leader McConnell, has said something super smart that the Democrats in the Congress seem to not understand, which is, let's put something on the floor the president will sign. Let's do something that can actually become the law. When the Democrats say, well, just go ahead and pass what we passed in the winter or the spring, that's not reality, because their bills are gun confiscation.
That wasn't true, Congressman.
That's correct.
Your bill's not a confiscation bill.
It is not. In fact, the House passed on a bipartisan basis universal background checks legislation that has 97% support among the American people. It is before the U.S. Senate. All Mitch McConnell has to do is put up for a vote, and it will get to a president's desk.
Why do you think, as a political figure, the president of the United States won't support something that has 97% support? Background checks.
I believe he is being a chicken and being beholden to the NRA. There's no reason to not have this bill become law. It's been shown to be effective in preventing felons and other people who have committed violent crimes from getting these guns. And we know that in the last mass shooting, it would have prevented that person from getting a gun.
They're now saying on the right, the evangelical right, that I'm going to get to this later in the show, that owning a gun and not having to have a background check, in other words, gun safety runs against God's will. They're saying they have a sacred right, which is total, to own guns, whatever gun they want, assault rifles, whatever magazine size. They say that's a sacred right that God, Jesus, I guess, in most cases, gave them. I don't want to be sacrilegious, but they're saying this.
So I'm just a simple Catholic. I've read the Bible. It turns out the word gun is actually not in the Bible. They're just making that up. And what we have here is a president that has been completely ineffective in getting any legislation through Congress that helps the American people. He's blaming people like Beto O'Rourke for his inability to get gun legislation passed. All he has to do is say, I will sign that legislation, and it becomes law.
I'm with you. A new report from the House Joint Economic Committee describes the growing epidemic of gun violence in America. According to this report, in 2017, for the first time, more people were killed by guns in this country than by car accidents. Nearly 400,000 people were killed by guns. Approximately 2,500 of them were kids in school. The report also found that compared to other high-income countries, our country's firearm-related fatality rate is nearly 50 times higher for teens and young adults. Nicole, back to you. And my guess the question is, what do you want to say to the President of the United States if he's watching?
President Trump, you're a father. Please take action. Our kids need to be kept safe. This is what the Americans across the country want. Allow the vote to happen and then allow it to pass and move into law.
You know, your leadership is not always brilliant, not always, but they're brilliant on this, because they put to the president this week, Chuck Schumer in the Senate, and Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, said to the president, if you sign background check legislation, not all this other stuff, it's just background legislation, we'll be there for the signing to celebrate that event. And Trump has been mumbling ever since. I think you guys have finally caught this guy so off base. I don't think Trump knows what to do.
That's correct. And let me just thank Nicole for her amazing leadership with Sandy Hook Promise. If the president is watching, I urge him to watch this compelling ad that Sandy Hook Promise put out. And the statistics are sobering. We know from the Centers for Disease Control that over 39,000 people die annually from gun violence. That's over 4 people per hour. So by the time your show is over, Chris, another 4 people would have died of gun violence in America. We need to pass this legislation now.
Nicole, what is it about America when you look at these stats? Are we an angry people, a violent people? What is it? Is it access to guns, pure and simple? What is it about the shooting that goes on in this country?
In my opinion, it's a mixture of a lot of things. Definitely easy access to guns is a significant problem and needs to be addressed. But also, I think just being aware that these acts continue and that they're preventable. There's a lot that we can do in terms of upstream violence prevention and helping people before they ever reach that point. We're not a country that has more violent video games or more mental illness than anywhere else, but we do have a lot of problems that need addressing, and one of those is the unfettered access to guns, and there's measures that we can take to help improve that.
Well, I think you're doing what a good mother can do. Thank you so much, Nicole Hockley. And thank you, U.S. Congressman Ted Lieu, for coming in tonight. Up next, a freshman congresswoman opens up on the House floor to share her own, actually painful memories of her partner's suicide. She's hoping to raise awareness about mental health issues that can lead to suicide, and also reduce the stigma attached to even asking for help if you got a mental illness problem. We're back into this.